Hey everybody, this is David, Fairly Secret Music. Today I decided I was going to do kind of a David Coverdale discography. I might be missing one or two things, maybe live things, but Vinylizer John did a video about the Restless Heart album, so that made me come down here and have to see if I had the Japanese version, which I do, but I don't think the Japanese version is listed on Discogs. I know that I looked at it, and it is the Japanese version, same thing that he has, but when I scanned it into Discogs, it came up as the Russian version. But anyway, so Coverdale was in Deep Purple for 3 albums. He and Glenn Hughes got offers to join after they kicked out Ian Gillan and Roger Glover, which is funny because Roger Glover ends up producing Rainbow and Hughes and Thrall solo album, and the first couple David Coverdale solo albums. So Burn was the first one, kind of the first thing you ever hear of Coverdale. The title track is amazing. Might Just Take Your Life is You Fool No One is great, and Sail Away is amazing. That version of the song is so much better than the Whitesnake Purple album version. This is the remix, remastered. But there are only 5 songs that Roger Glover? I don't think Roger Glover remixed them. There have been weirder things that happened, but it only has 5 of the 8 songs remixed. The second album with Hughes and Coverdale was Stormbringer, and this album got a lot more funky. I think Glenn Hughes and Coverdale kind of took the reins on this one a little bit more. I've heard that Coverdale and Ritchie Blackmore were asked to do a demo of the song Soldier of Fortune before they would decide or whether it should go on the album or something like that. I don't know if that's true. My brother told me that. But the title track is just a rocker right out of the gate. My favorite song is You Can't Do It Right. It sounds like Glenn Hughes listened to so much Stevie Wonder at that time. This also has 5 songs remixed and 4 songs remixed and an instrumental version of Highball Shooter. Disc 2 is audio only. It's the original quad mix in 5.1, which is really cool, but I'm not even sure if I've ever listened to that. After that album, Ritchie Blackmore leaves, and What is going on here? Look do you see the craziness of this? What kind of craziness is going on here? I must have accidentally put Come Taste the Band in the wrong thing. So let's just show you that. Well, I have no idea where my remixed version of Come Taste the Band is. Here we go. Sorry, you guys get to see my bald head. Tommy Bolin took over guitar on this one. So this is the 35th anniversary version of it. The album is remastered. I believe Kevin Shirley. Nope. Remastered by Dave Schultz. The remix, however, I believe is done by Kevin Shirley. I'm not 100. Yep. Kevin Shirley remixed the album. But at least he remixes the whole album, unlike only half of it on the previous 2. This is cool because the remix version, they take Ode to G and this time around and split them into 2 tracks, so you don't have to listen to the whole 6 minutes to get, or the first 3 minutes to get to the last 3 minutes on that. Coming Home is really great. Lady Luck is really good. They were a different band with Tommy Bolin, but still really good. The first David Coverdale solo album is called Whitesnake, so now you know how he got the name Whitesnake. This has Mick Moody on guitar. He's one of the guys that was with him all the way until Slide It In, when things started going horribly stupid. If I remember correctly, the song Lady is awesome. A lot of the 70s stuff I'm not super familiar with, so I might fly through this. North Winds was... Oh, and I was going to show you guys... these come with a lot of liner notes. I like to know whether or not it's worth getting. That is what you might see on some, like, listings on eBay or Amazon, but I put the original covers out because, well, they're mine and I can do what I want. North Winds is his second solo album. That might also be the version that you see. It's nice, though. It remastered bonus tracks, you know. The first one has 2 bonus tracks. This one has 2 bonus tracks. The song North Winds is really awesome, and Only My Soul. I think those were 2 pretty mellow songs. But his voice is really... smooth. It's really smooth on those 2 albums. Then the first official Whitesnake thing is Trouble, but actually I think the Snakebite EP was technically before that. And these are all the remastered versions. I think the title track on here was really awesome. As I said before, I'm not super familiar with the Whitesnake 70s stuff, but guess what? Because John did his Whitesnake video and I got inspired to do this video of the discography of David Coverdale, I get nothing but David Coverdale tomorrow at work. It's going to be awesome, and my coworkers are going to be bored as hell probably. But I get control of it because I open. This is the American cover. This is, I believe, the original cover right there. Ugh. I'm glad they switched to this artwork. We get a Chris Achilleos album cover with Love Hunter. My wife makes fun of this album because there are so many innuendos, and okay, that's what Whitesnake was kind of about for a little bit. Not so much in the 70s. They were more blues at this time. I'm just seeing, this has 4 bonus tracks. I was seeing if one of the songs on here was something that shows up later on Whitesnake albums, because they were a band that loved to re-record songs if they felt that they didn't really get pushed on the very first time they recorded it. They would record it again. A good example is Fool for Your Lovin'. And wait, was Fool for Your Lovin'? Yeah. This is Ready and Willing. Also, by this time, you have the main lineup. You got, I think, Mick Moody, Mel Galley. I might be screwing this up. Neil Murray, who is a fantastic bass player. I believe he played on Ozzy stuff and some Gary Moore stuff. You get John Lord and Ian Pace on here. So you have 3/5 of Whitesnake's albums where David Coverdale was in it. And Neil Murray, who is an amazing bass player, and the two guitarists that were with Whitesnake that kind of started the whole thing with him. After that, you get Live in the Heart of the City, which is a 2-disc version. Let's see. The first 9 tracks are from 78, and the other 6 are from... No. The first CD, first 9 tracks are from 80, and the last 6 are from 78. Let's see here. Come and Get It. I'm not super familiar with this album. I think it had the exact same lineup. You get 6 bonus tracks on this version. I remember Lonely Days and Lonely Nights being a really standout track on this. And here is where they start doing some of their hits that show up on other things, because this had Crying in the Rain and Here I Go Again, the first versions of it. And like I said, on all of these they have extra photos and extensive liner notes and all the lyrics. The only thing that doesn't have all the lyrics so far is those 2 David Coverdale solo albums. Look at this. I forgot. Cozy Powell shows up on this. So Ian Pace is no longer in the band. I think this was before they did the Perfect Strangers album. I'm not 100% sure when Perfect Strangers came along by Deep Purple, where the Ian Gillan lineup. Here is where I can really start talking about Whitesnake. So, Slide It In. Now, this comes with almost 2 versions of the album. It has the... Disc 1 has the whole album, the US remix, and on the US remix, that has John Sykes, Neil Murray, and Bill Cuomo on keyboards, bass, and guitar. Sorry, John Sykes is on guitar, Neil Murray bass, Bill Cuomo on keyboards. But the UK version of it had Mel Galley, John Lord, Mick Moody, Colin Hodgkinson, and Cozy Powell on drums. I guess they went back and redid all the keyboards, guitars, and bass. I don't know why. John Sykes comes in the band, but I think Mick Moody still stays for a while, because there are pictures where it still has one of the 2 guitarists. I'm just not sure which guy this is. But you got John Lord, Coverdale, Cozy Powell, John Sykes, and Neil Murray. There was a lot of hair in this band at one point. A lot of big hair. Actually, there still is if you look at new stuff. There was a whole cool photo shoot with this girl, and she had that snake like wrapped around her. I really like this picture. I think they should have done, like, cut it off right there and just had that. But you can't really see that well. This has tons and tons of liner notes. I guess um, the cool thing about this is hearing what the original UK mix and the US mix sound like when you compare the two. This also has a DVD of some live stuff and promo videos. These things, these deluxe edition packages, um, always come with these cool, like, fold out things. Or at least these Whitesnake ones do, which is always cool. I love packaging. I think packaging is at least 20 to 30% of music. Um, I just think it's almost as important as the actual music, just how it's displayed and presented. I think we've lost what was cool about getting physical copies since all the digital media has kind of made people not care about CDs or vinyl or whatever. Um, Whitesnake's '87 album. This is so awesome. Originally, it started with in the U.S. version. It started with "Crying in the Rain" and "Bad Boys," but this version has "Still of the Night," "Give Me All Your Love," "Bad Boys," "Is This Love," "Here I Go Again," "Straight for the Heart," "Looking for Love," which never was on the original. Which wasn't on the original US version, and it's crazy because Neil Murray has some just tasty fretless bass playing on there. This album had Ansley Dunbar on drums, Neil Murray on bass, John Sykes on guitar, and of course Coverdale on vocals. But by the time they toured with this album, he had gotten rid of everybody because apparently he doesn't know when he has a super hot band with him. And I have seen like video of this band playing with, but Cozy Powell was playing with them, and they were super awesome. Although Cozy Powell is kind of a stiff drummer for me. I think Ansley Dunbar was amazing on this album. But the touring lineup was David Coverdale, Adrian Vandenberg, Vivian Campbell, Rudy Sarzo, and Tommy Aldrich. So, I mean, he went from one hot lineup to another. So "Fool for Your Loving" wasn't one of the album songs they re-recorded, but "Here I Go Again" '87 is on here, and "Crying in the Rain" were both re-recorded versions of older songs. And I believe Adrian Vandenberg was kind of jealous or felt threatened by Vivian Campbell. So I think he kind of forced him out. This might be just a bunch of, what do you call that? Gossip that people came up with. But if that is true, how would you feel if you were feeling threatened by Adrian Vandenberg and then you get injured and Adrian Vandenberg is already gone? So says, oh, sorry, my video might have gone weird there. And then David Coverdale says, hey, we got rid of Adrian Vandenberg, or, Vivian Campbell, but we got Steve Vai to replace him. And Adrian Vandenberg, I believe, got injured and couldn't play any of the guitar parts on this album. This is a super cool album cover. I really like this. When it first came out, I didn't think much of it, but I really like it. It's just a nice design. I want to say Hugh Syme did the original art for this album. Not sure. Let's see. Production. Yep, Hugh Syme, who did a lot of Rush things. So this album is, it's kind of weird. It's kind of got that whole cock rock kind of feel to it. I mean, in a Whitesnake cock rock kind of way. Slip of the Tongue is really good, and Judgment Day. Oh, here's where they did Fool for Your Lovin' on this album. I knew Fool for Your Lovin' was redone. But you got the song Kittens Got Claws, and I don't know, Kittens Got Claws is a little cheesy to me, but still pretty damn good album. And Steve Vai does some great playing on it. I'm going to look at the liner notes after I do this video to see if indeed Adrian Vandenberg even played on that album. This is, by the way, if you're wondering, this is a little speaker that I have, and honestly, at this point, this is the only thing it's good for. After that album, he decided to do an album with Jimmy Page, and a lot of people say that this is a Led Zeppelin kind of clone band. It's Jimmy Page and David Coverdale. Of course it's going to sound like Led Zeppelin and Whitesnake kind of shoved together. And the first track is Shake My Tree, and it's super awesome. If you love Led Zeppelin, if you love Whitesnake, listen to Shake My Tree. If you don't like that song, just skip this album. Here is the album that brought this whole video on, Restless Heart. This is indeed the Japanese version that John got. I love that this has tons of liner notes, and I can't read one damn bit of it. I mean, I can read the family tree, which is cool. And apparently in 94, June 94 to October 94, Warren DeMartini was in the band for a bit, or at least did a solo. It may have a super awesome photo of David Coverdale, but I can't read these liner notes, but at least it has all the lyrics, and it doesn't have the super cheesy American. Let me find. This is the, there we go. That's the US cover of David Coverdale looking pouty and stuff. I believe this is still got Adrian Vandenberg on it. Yeah, because most of the songs were written by Coverdale and Vandenberg. And this was released in, what year was this? 97. So let's see, when did, so this was 89. Slip of the Tongue was 89. So that's what, 8 years or something like that before he does another Whitesnake album. I've only listened to this album once or twice, but as I said again, this is going to be listened to. I'm going to have a whole day at my work listening to Coverdale, and the only time they'll have any time off from David Coverdale's voice is track 14 on this album, which is an instrumental. David Coverdale's Into the Night. Now this came out in 2000, so 3 years later after Restless Heart. I do believe they did a lot of what do you call it, touring, how you say touring, and this is a pretty mellow album, but it's got Marco Mendoza on bass and Denny Carmassi on drums on a lot of things. It's got Earl Slick playing guitar. I have only listened to this like maybe once or twice, and it's pretty mellow in spots. There might be a rocker here or there, but I mean, look at that. It looks like a Michael Bolton album, but it's still Dave. And look, there's a picture of Dave looking smooth with his guitar. Look at that. He's still getting the ladies if he wants to. I think he's married, has a kid. Probably has more than one kid. Who knows? Good to Be Bad. I think this is the first album with Doug Ulrich on it. This is the version that has 2 CDs, and there is a lot of live stuff on here. Let me make sure. Yeah, this has Doug Aldrich, Reb Beach from Winger, Timothy Drury on keyboards, Uriah Duffy on bass, and Chris Frazier on drums. I believe Chris Frazier played with Steve Vai for some time too. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this was the first. This was on SPV. Let me see what else was on SPV. Yeah, I think this is the first one. And then, as I said, haven't listened to it all that much. We get Live at Donington, 1990. And this is with the huge lineup that has Aldrich and Sarzo, Vandenberg, and Vai in the band. There's this 2-disc version that ends with Still of the Night. And I wonder if in their current touring, if they end with Still of the Night, because David Coverdale's voice is older. I mean, this is almost 30 years now. And I could not imagine him wanting to finish with Still of the Night, but you never know. I have an acquaintance through the Thrash It Out podcast who said he saw him and was like, they just rocked really hard. And Doug Ulrich is not in the band anymore, but we will get to that. Forevermore. I remember nothing. I have to listen to all my Whitesnake. But this has Doug Ulrich still on guitar with Reb Beach. Let me give you a little overview of who's in the band. Doug Ulrich, Reb Beach, Michael Devin, and Brian Tichy, who played with Dead Daisies on their first couple albums, and now Doug Ulrich is in the band, and so is John Corabi is the singer. But now Dead Daisies also has Dean Castronova on drums, which is cool, but I'm on the fence with Dead Daisies because A, they don't give me the full lyrics, and B, they always have 2 cover songs on each album. 2 things that I think are big no-nos. Give me all the lyrics, and don't put cover songs on your albums, because I'd much rather hear an original song. If you want to do covers live, then fine, but don't waste CD space and especially studio time, by doing covers. Frontiers also. My bitch about Frontiers Records is they do these DVD versions that have like making of albums, and they're always starting when their guitars are being done or the vocals are being done, never at the beginning when drums are being recorded. If you want to do a making of video that's awesome, that makes me want to watch it again, start with the drums, then do the bass, then do guitars, then do vocals. Show me the actual making of. There's an Opeth DVD that does that. There's a couple, maybe even multiple Mastodon DVDs that are like that. The final album that that I have from Whitesnake or David Coverdale, the Purple album. I got this used. I was not going to buy it because I didn't really dig what I heard, but I thought, you know, for $5, and especially $5 with the CD DVD, I thought, well, I'm really not risking a lot. After listening to it once or twice, it's not as bad as I originally thought. Coverdale's voice is pretty raspy now, and really doesn't have a lot of that smoothness that he had 45 years ago or something like that. They do a cool mellow version of Sail Away. They do Burn, but without Glenn Hughes singing, it really isn't the same. And honestly, if you want to hear a live version of that song, listen to Black Country Communion, because Glenn's voice is still on fire. He is so awesome. He can do those screams. He's just, for a guy who did so much bad stuff chemical wise, his voice is still absolutely amazing. This album, it's kind of cool to hear them redo things. Of course, Reb Beach is still in the band. I don't think he'll ever go unless Winger, I don't know, are Winger doing stuff? But Joel Hoekstra, he was the guitarist from Night Ranger, and I really think it was a bad move for him to move to Whitesnake, because I felt that he was more of a bandmate in Night Ranger, and he's more of a hired gun for Whitesnake. But who knows? They might be working on a new album, and he might blow me away. Michael Devin is on bass still. I believe there was one live DVD with Marco Mendoza, who plays in Dead Daisies and was the bass player who took over for Tony Franklin in Blue Murder. And that guy is an amazing fretless bass player, but he doesn't play it a lot anymore, if any. I messaged him and never got a response. I wanted to know if he still played fretless. And the unstoppable Tommy Aldrich. I heard these guys were still super awesome live, from somebody on the Thrash It Out podcast, and there was a short drum solo, and I believe it's still the same drum solo he used to do when he was with Ozzy in the 80s. That's a weird album to end on, but it's in order, so hopefully this was awesome for you, and let me know what you think. Hit that like button, give me some feedback. All right, take it easy.